Marawa na Jacinta Tobin, Burubirongal, Cannemegal, Darug, dalang. So welcome. My name's Jacinta Tobin. I come from the Cannemegal, well, we used to call it Wamali, from the Possum people at Prospect, and also the Burubirongal, the kangaroo people at Richmond.
And I'm Ceane. I'm Warrami. Hello. I'm also from Wamuli, Cannemegal, from Black Kitty, who was a fisherwoman and used to do the fishing around the harbour, but also possum woman, fire woman. Same with Auntie Jacinta's mob.
Yep. So we're from the same clan group. And it was interesting. Over a month ago, my cousin, she called in and said, I want to go down the harbour, and she's got a little nawee on her on the top of the car, modern style, of course, because these don't cut it when it comes to speedboats. But had a calling down this way, and she taped herself singing a song. Do you want to do a little bit of it?
I wasn't prepared for that.
All right. But the start of the song that she taped at the start was ER.
The start of this song.
And we hadn't talked about this before. And so it became pretty ironic that we're singing this song together, and that was the natural sounds that were coming out of Ceane's mouth at that time.
Yeah, just by linking in with the vibrations of the country here, getting out on the harbour and being influenced by ancestors who teach about sacred grounds and medicine and about life and about death. And I believe this is a portal type vortex to another place. Okay.
And so Ceane's descendant Kitty and we're the descendants. Our ancestors Kitty and Maria were also the first documented Aboriginal children at the first Native Institute, wasn't it?
It was,
yep.
yeah.
At Parramatta in 1814.
Yeah.
So you're meeting the Sydney Aborigines.
Yeah. Yeah. And Black Kitty, she went across to the Hawkesbury and married Chief Yarramundi. Colby, who was Yarramundi's son. And she hung out with Ben-nil-long. We believe that Kitty was the second wife of Ben-nil-long.
So in the documentation, it talks about Ben-nil-long came around with his young wife, and that could have been Kitty. Yeah. And so my descendant Maria, she was first married to Dickie, which was Ben-nil-long's son. So we want to sing this for our ancestors and also for the world. Hello out in Zoom land. But it's mostly we've been rehearsing. We stayed together last night. Our children are with us. Mine's here today, Killy May, and also with Killy May's name. This is where we know we are the people of country. I named my daughter Killy May because she's the only one I thought would come out with blue eyes, and bright eyes it means. But then Jacqueline Troy gave me a copy of her book, the Sydney language book, and in there is one of our Sydney women documented in full fishing gear called Killy Grant, just when I thought I was being original, So some things stay the same. So we're hoping to do justice for this song for our ancestors and for the Gadigal people of this land. Yeah, so the Darug dalang, the spoken tongue goes from the saltwater to the freshwater to the mountains, the Blue Mountains. And it changes, of course, from coastal to inland dialect. So this one we sing for the Gadigal people and acknowledge those elders past and present. And welcome good hearts, right intent. Yeah, that's what we want to welcome. We can't welcome all behaviours. We've been doing that too long. Look at the place.
And by singing this song, because this song was recorded, so we've had to follow the principles of who recorded this song, singing live on the harbour, all the technical issues that goes with that. So we're following as close as we know to the original song that was heard. And, they were fishing, so they're singing up the fish And I think that they were making everything right way, going out there, doing the singing, bringing in the fish, catching the fish, as well as having fun with their children, teaching them how to fish and how to eat on the boat, you know.
Because times past, the boats have lining in them
Yeah.
where we could actually light a fire. So it was documented that we'd have the fire and the fish cooking. Takeaway, hey? Cruise style.
Yeah. We should acknowledge who made this boat.
Yes, yeah, Dean and sorry, David. David. We're really grateful that there's many people hoping and trying to revitalise our old practices, because this is the real Australia. This is the old Australia. Yep, this is your ancient culture that Australians need to embrace and love. And, you know, we've been here a while, 45,000 years constant occupation, and that's been minimal in this country. So we're really proud to still be here. You mightn't see us, but we're still here.
I'd like to acknowledge on that note the ancestors of this country, that they are with us today, and that when we do sing these songs, they recognise, country recognises these songs, and resonates a vibration that is an old language that keeps things alive. So song was so important in keeping creation alive and respecting everything about creation. You know, every moment, every footstep was a thank you from our people. Thank you for this earth. Thank you for this food. Thank you for this material. Thank you for our children, you know. We loved ourselves, we loved everybody, and we were as big and as healthy as the rocks and the trees and the water, the clean waters and the clean airs. We were as healthy as that, and we were all one. So when we sang, these trees heard, the roots, the ground, the water, the sky, the universe would hear that song. So I think that by not singing these songs anymore, that it does a lot of damage. You know, it's quite deep. Yeah. First we should do a welcome.
Yep, that's it. Ready?
You do your welcome. Okay.
Good, I'm done.
Okay.
Yep. Ready
There
to
you go.
sing?
Yeah.
I'm ready to sing.
Ready to sing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Iya wanjiwa jango wangango mangangi wakai nanawa barawala barama. Iya wanjiwa jango wangango mangangi wakai nanawa barawala barama. Iye wanjiwa jango wanjango mangani wakai nalawu barabula barama. Iye wanjiwa jango wanjango mangani wakai nalawu barabula barama. Iye wanjiwa jango wanjango mangani wakai nalawu barabula barama. And I'd like to translate that for you as roughly as we can get. And part of that translation, because we don't realise we still have tongue on our words on our tongue still today. And I was asking her about wakai, you know, like what's a wakai word? And I rang one of the cousins, and she's a Ewan Darug, and she said, wakai, like wonky eye. And I went, oh, pidgin English. But then it was recorded at time of colonisation. Then I was talking to Ceane, and I said, have you ever heard the word wakai? And what did you say?
Oh, my great auntie, they call her Wakai Kate because she's got a wakai, but they call her Wakai and Cockeye.
Yeah, and so that's two different sources with two different family members. That wakai was about the fish having a bung eye. Now, if you're trying to encourage fish, you don't want the good-eyed fish because they're going to see your hook. Yeah? So you want the bung eye one to help them make their breeding stock better and we'll capture those with the bung eye. Yep.
Yeah, or just that they're not looking.
Yeah,
They're distracted.
So, and come up, and mangani, man is our word for fishing people, yeah? But mangani also could be gathering. Nalawa, as in we're sitting here waiting for you. All you fish with the bung eye, come up. And the last word, where we say barama, is the barry is the fish hook, and ma is to make. So make my fish hook a fish hook. Otherwise, it's just a hook with no fish on it.
Yeah.
So that's how we saw that song. Yeah. But we'd also like to sing you a song in language we do Wirrawee.
Okay.
And this is a song we sing to acknowledge the mothers. But when we acknowledge women, we've got to remember as women, we birth both male and female. So guys, don't feel left out because, hey, without a woman, you wouldn't be here. Wirrawee, boo boo boo. Wirrawee, boo boo boo. Yana nindi, yana Janawee. Aboriginal women strong. Aboriginal women strong. Walk with you, walk with me, Janawee. Wirrawee, boo boo boo. Wirrawee, boo boo boo. Yana nindi, yana Janawee. And that means ended.
Oh, what about come in, sit down?
Yeah? Okay, I'll get my guitar. Do you want to talk a little?
Do I want to talk a bit? I'm just really happy that you've made it here today from wherever you come from. And, you know, you make it home safely after this event.
Yeah, because that's also, when a welcome to country was done times past, you'd go to someone's boundary and you'd sit there and you make a fire. That's where the coo-wee, you know, and you'd call out. And then you'd perform the song that got you to that place. And when they heard the tune of that song, they knew which song line you need to travel on because it's the same tune, just different language groups. And so they'd take you through their way through to the next spot. And see, and that was the difference with a welcome and times past is we'd actually travel with you through country until you left. And so this welcome we do today is different. And so that's why we need to make sure that there's a little bit of not law breaking, because times past you would walk with us and we make sure you didn't break law. So this is a song I wrote a while ago now. We're getting older. And this was, we had all the people from around the country come to the World Heritage Indigenous, or it was a World Heritage meeting. And people from Central and NT, and they encouraged us, even as who we are here in country, to stand up and be who we are and sing our songs and stay connected. And so this is our thank you song back to them for encouraging us to stay strong. Nalawa miliga gurang barak Didrigo yana janui bubu nangami come in and sit down. A good friend's happy to see you. Thank you for walking with me and strengthening my dream. from this place. We have strong spirit dreaming. Nalawa mediga gurung barak Didrigo yana janui bobo nanga me. Hey. Don't leave your guitar out in the sun too long. That's it. So it's been a pleasure, like with the Reimagine. Also, Graham at that time, because we get things still, and sometimes it's hard in this 21st century sort of style living to have faith in what we're getting. And I wrote a song. The Sydney Festival rang. Do you reckon that's going to be all right to put in there?
Yeah, I'll hold it.
Oh, sweet. Thanks.
Put it in there for you
Watch
anyway.
out.
Yeah.
Yep. Cool.
Yeah.
Let's hope. Yeah, it's not as heavy as we are now. We would have been a lot smaller. So I wrote a song. Sydney Festival rang me and asked me to sing the national anthem in the Darug dalang, the Darug tongue. And I actually said no and hung up on them. And then they rang back, God love them. And yeah, it wasn't good music career move, but you know, I'm not in here for that. So they rang back and said, wouldn't it be wonderful if you could write a song with Nardi Simpson, beautiful Nardi, that could be sung before the national anthem on the 26th of January? Because that's a hard day for us Sydney people. I said yes. And as soon as I hung up the phone, I had like 9 Darug men in front of me. Traditional way. Yeah. But they had a shield in front of all the bits. They had a shield. And they had the shield and they were banging the shield with their woomera. And they were, and they were really aggressive. And I thought, oh no, I've done the wrong thing. And what the message was saying, they gave me a tune. But when they were giving me the tune, they were saying, you better tell them our story, you know, because they were cranky that our story of Sydney and what has happened has been whitewashed. And so I got the message loud and clear, and then they took off, and then the women turned up. Now, the women, I didn't get to see the body. I just saw from the kneecap down, and they were standing in the saltwater, freshwater. And that's the mangroves, that sandy soil but dark, yeah? And they were saying to us, we can't stay angry. That's what's making our people sick. Because times past, when trauma happened, we dealt with it straight away. We don't carry it on our auras, but these days we don't think about all these things. Anyway, so I'm from an unbroken women's line to the possum people. So my mum, her mum, all my mums on my mum's side have been born here of country. I haven't, but I was out of state, joys of the Air Force. But Killy, my daughter, is born back in country again. And so what they were saying, because we're possum people, we know upside down business, we enjoy it at times, but we also walk straight. And so the idea is to turn what's happened in Australia right way round. And so this is the song they gave to me. And then I'll sing it for you. And then I asked Graham, I sung it to Graham, and I said, is this anything like what was notated? And it's similar. And that was so, wow, okay, excellent. You know, we are the we are. All right, big girl pants on, let's do it. Yeah, so this song, it was done with 12 choirs, so I never do the harmony any justice, so I leave it out. But the harmony, in the harmonic parts that's normally sung, we call the eagle in, the sea eagle. We call the whale in. We call the Sydney fig in because of the ones that have been taken out of country that should be here. And we also sung the cockle shell to say thank you for the food. What I didn't know, because out west we use the kangaroo bone a lot, yeah? But in Sydney they used to use the cockle shell on the woomera. And I didn't know that at the time when we wrote the song, so that was kind of cool. These things that come to us and then we find out down the track how relevant it truly is. So I'll translate it for you. Long time a bad sickness came to this country. No big mob of Sydney people anymore. But today we all come together to make good dreaming. One people, one earth, one water, one sun. Can we learn to love one big family? Gurgal, weary, gal, galau, gooey. Biao, Mari, Laura, Boni. Yaguna, Bariala. Benga, Bujri, Gunya, Long, Yalong. Gunya, Long, Yalong. Gunya, Long, Yalong. Wagu, Laura. Wagu Pemu, Wagu Going, Wagu Gary Goreng, no lawo, nobody la, Wango Mari Mujen. Bueng, duruk, bye Mari, duruk, dialect, duruk. Gurgal, weary, gal, galau, gooey. Biao, Mari, Laura, Boni. Yaguna, Bariala. Benga, Bujuri, Gunya, Long, Yalong. Gunya, Long, Yalong. Gunya, Long, Yalong. Did you guys? Yeah.
Welcome. Sorry. Hello. Welcome everyone, and particular and special thanks to Jacinta and Ceane for this incredible opening to our wonderful symposium. I don't know how better we could have done this. Just such a fitting start to it. Thank you for the stories and for introducing us to this wonderful fish song, which belongs on this water here and on this land. And before I go any further, my name's Neil Perez da Costa. I'm Associate Dean of Research here at the Conservatorium, and I have the good fortune to work with wonderful people here and to share this knowledge that we're hearing today. I'd like to acknowledge, of course, the ancestors of the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation, whose land this is and has been for thousands of years. And we're just so lucky to have our conservatorium sitting here. And I think more and more every day we feel the energy of those ancestors with us, and we get to experience this type of creativity, music making, and it really increases our feeling for the land. So thank you so much. I'd like to say a big welcome to everyone here from our Dean, Professor Anna Reid, who is currently overseas with the Symphony Orchestra on tour. Poor thing, must be hard work, but I know that she would want to welcome you very warmly to the next 2.5 days. Also, I'd like to say a big welcome from the conveners of the symposium, Chris Cody, whose brainchild this was, and Amanda Harris, my colleague, and also Toby Martin and myself. We're on the convening team, and the idea behind this, as you'll find out as we go along, was bringing together all our work in reimagining programming. So we've got 2.5 days of really wonderful papers, lecture recitals, round tables, exploring the theme of the symposium. And we're going to have catering for you. We're going to have time to have some socializing, wine and so on. And I think it's going to be a very rich experience. It's so great that so many people elected to come to write in and actually give us their proposals. And, you know, we actually took everyone because they were all so good. And that's just a mark of where we are in the world now with all of this. I also wanted to, I think I've missed out a really important thing. Thank you to the Maritime Museum for bringing this beautiful nawee here and allowing us to bring it outside. And, you know, you've done it with such grace and such, generosity, really. And I was just saying, I would love to get our Dean to buy one of these for the con, because what a symbol of Indigenous culture here it would be, and it's so beautiful. So we're going to work on that. So really, that's all I wanted to say. Thanks to our SCM professional staff, the Dean, obviously, Anthony Schmiel, who's on the front desk, and a whole host of people who've been working behind the scenes to make this work. Thanks to the convening panel. There's been a lot of background work. Thank you guys over here who are doing the live Zoom. They were brought in at the very last minute and they've been very gracious with their time. We hope that it will all run smoothly over the next few days, but please do come and see us and ask us any questions. And we have lots of people working for us on the conference, but mostly let's all have a great time together, and you're all very welcome. And I'll pass over to Amanda now. Just say a few words. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for starting things in the way that you have and opening this session. The song that Jacinta and Ceane sang at the very beginning was documented being sung by women coming in on a nawee, just down there, the water where we can see. So it's really special thing to be able to stand here now, so many years later, but also such a short time later in the passage of time, and to be able to hear that song sung by the both of you. Thank you so much for being here, and I just am so grateful to you and treasure so much the relationships that you're fostering and growing through the process of singing that song. So thank you so much.
Also my supervisor, so getting good.
An awesome thing to be doing for your PhD too. It's so great. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about the research project that this symposium has arisen from and which is supporting the event. Our idea for this symposium's theme came from discussions about the possibility that Dr. Nicole Cherry, who's there with us in the middle there, might come out to the Sydney Conservatorium and give a public lecture in our Hook lecture series. And we started to think, well, maybe that lecture that we would all be looking forward to so much could double as a keynote for a symposium that we were planning to get together for our research project. And we were really excited by the work that Dr. Cherry does in rethinking historical performances through creative programming innovations. And we started thinking about the relationships between her work and what we're exploring in a collaborative research project called Hearing the Music of Early New South Wales. And this is a discovery project funded by the Australian Research Council, and it seeks to use historical and creative practice research methods to sound the music of this place from several hundred years ago. We're working with records of both songs sung by Aboriginal people, as you just heard, as well as European settler vocal and instrumental music, and to develop an account of this place's musical soundscape. Three of the investigators on this project, Neil Perez da Costa, Toby Martin and I, have collaborated with Chris Cody on developing the concept for the symposium out of the resonances that we found between Dr. Cherry's work and our own. And we continue work on this project with the larger team, and you'll hear from all of us over the next few days, and we're all very much looking forward to hearing from all of you. So the other members of the team are Jacqueline Troy, Graham Skinner and Matthew Stevens, as well as two PhD students affiliated with the project, Jacinta Tobin, who we've just heard beautifully from just now, and Julia Rossignello, whose work we'll hear about tomorrow morning. So thank you so much for being here with us, both in the room and online. We know there are some of you out there in Zoom land. And we're excited to open up the discussions that will happen over the next few days. And thank you in advance, all of you, for your contributions. And I think now we're going to mosey on back to the building, where we'll go down to the bottom level, and we'll be continuing with the next session more or less straight away when we go back there.
Can I just say a very warm welcome to Dr. Nicole Cherry. I left you off my welcome, but you know, Nicole's come over from the States and she's been here for a few days for the first time in Australia, I believe. And we're so grateful that you've come over for this. Thank you very much.